Hey guys, this is Jamie. So basically, I really had something else in mind, or rather, I wanted to talk about something else, but regardless, today we're going to be talking about Jordan Peterson and him being a dick to Elliot Page and and obviously Jordan Peterson being a dick in general. So basically, if you haven't heard, Jordan Peterson was giving an interview of some sorts, and he basically dead named Elliot Page, and then it escalated into him doing a tweet saying that he'd rather die than call Elliot Page Elliot Page. So obviously that was all over Twitter. Thankfully, Twitter bans Jordan Peterson, so it was really refreshing to see that social media has a bit of a head on their shoulders more than, for instance, the US government and whatever the fuck is happening with Joe Biden tweeting, thinking that it's gonna solve everything as if he's. Anyway, the US is going through a really weird period right now. So when it comes to Jordan Peterson, I wanted to say that he was kind of like rising through who is this guy in terms of psychology, and obviously people talked about him, people referenced him, and he obviously started off as like, yeah, kids shouldn't transition, and now he goes into this absolute hates monologues about that trans people shouldn't exist and etc. And obviously, whatever he said about all those comments, which were very unnecessary towards Elliot Page. I also wondered if I want to do the video because, I find it interesting that unfortunately we can't choose, obviously, the trans people who represent us, and being a binary trans guy, I see Elliot Page and I feel like he's too pretty. Like, he feels very sort of cut out from a magazine with not much personality, but understand that he has obviously room to grow and he's an actor and everything. And I've read his interviews, he seems like a lovely guy. It's just, I can't vibe with him. No matter how much I try, I just can't vibe with him. And it's what this video wasn't a question, sort of do I want to I do want to raise awareness about the issue, obviously, and obviously you shouldn't misgender anyone or dead name anyone regardless of any situation and what they have done in the past, regardless how you feel about them. And I feel like it's actually a massive win that Twitter fucking censored Jordan Peterson, and now he's crying with the Daily Wire, which I believe is where Ben Shapiro is. So that's pretty much the news. It's just that I feel like when it comes to trans guy representation, I understand that I'm pretty much being hypocritical because just like every other trans guy, we're never happy with the representation we get. Because we're obviously very diverse. Because the trans community is very diverse, and I feel like sometimes we just shoehorn ourselves into this ideas that we're all like skinny, fit, and etc. And it's specifically difficult for me because I'm really struggling from eating disorders, and I just feel like we also need to raise awareness that there's just more to us than a pretty face, I guess. I don't know. I've just also been kind of wondering, like, there's a lot of people who complain that YouTube is stale, there's a lot of people who follow the YouTube formula, and I was really wondering, like, do I expand, do I talk about more personal? Because you also need to think about, like, will this get hits, is this clickbait, will this get more views, and etc. And obviously you have to have fun and be yourself, but at the same time, comes to Elliot Page, I did a video on Elliot Page back when he just came out, and I was like, well, okay, congrats, you're our spokesperson, do something. And no, obviously he's given a few interviews here and there. He got the cover of Squire, he got the cover of Time, and stuff like that, which is great. And obviously it's fucking awful that the amount of the transphobic he has to deal with on a daily basis. And but just that Elliot Page is so far from the binary trans dudes. And I tried to search, and there's a lot of like contradictory articles where Elliot Page says he's transmasculine, others say that he is a trans man, so I wasn't exactly sure, but most cite him as a trans man, so I'm going with that. I'm really sorry if it's transmasc. It's just that I feel like there's much more to us. And I guess it just related, like, for instance, a lot more when Gottmik Case was on Drag Race, obviously, because he was a trans guy going into a queer space. He was breaking a lot of boundaries. Well, I feel like, well, okay, another trans guy who does a bunch of press ups and goes to the gym as a personality. And I understand that, like, I really just sat and I read through that fucking enormous, I think it was a Vanity Fair article as well, and a few other ones. And I really tried to, like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna read about Elliot Page. And he really seems like a nice guy who just really wants to sort himself out, find his headspace, and etc. But, like, okay, it's a person progress, and we do need to understand that because we get our childhood taken away from us very often because we can't transition, and then we have our teenage years as well, and then we just pretty much just go through life until we can finally transition and be ourselves. So yeah, and I just wish you had more diversity, I guess. And it's really interesting at the same time seeing Elliot get so much transphobia and Kate, for instance, get less, from what I know. It's also really interesting because everyone always says that, like, oh, gay men are so transphobic, blah, blah, blah. But Kate was pretty much welcomed with much more open arms than from what I see Elliot was. And maybe it's because Elliot is sort of a more generic looking guy. I don't know. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about. But I just wish we didn't have to scramble so much for trans representation. But at the same time, I truly have sort of better hope that the world is getting better, things are getting better, but at the same time I understand, like, for instance, I'm in Portugal, like, I literally walked like this and I have shorts on, you know, and you can see my surgery scars from the side. And sure, I get a few looks here and there, but no one really walks up to me and says any transphobic shit. No one I've never ever been kicked out of a bathroom for wearing whatever I'm wearing, even if I'm in a dress or anything like that. So, obviously, I can say that I'm in a privileged place, and then, like, for instance, I'm gonna go to Brazil at some point throughout this year, and then I'll see how it is to be fully out there, and, you know, if I'll be able to wear the stuff I normally wear. So, yeah. I guess this ended up being a bit more rant vent because I really just didn't have enough to talk about the topic. So yeah, I just wanted to say that you should really not misgender people just because you don't like them. And if you're misgendering, you're just fucking hating trans people. And on the one hand, it's good that people are showing their true agenda instead of hiding behind children. While on the other hand, it'd be better if just trans folks could just fucking shut up for once and for all. But, you know. Anyway, if you like this video, I have to do the formula. So, if you liked it, give a like. If you liked it, subscribe. It won't hurt you. It will benefit me more than it benefits you. Thank you very much for watching.